Here's what we know. We know that creators are broke, and we know that brands need content. We're building out this marketplace that's gonna help you connect with brands. And no, as a creator, you don't have to have a huge following. All you have to do is make great content. If this is something you're interested in, just join our community and be one of the early access to get on the platform. Click on the link in our description, text the word creator or podcast, and join the community today.
All right, Oliver, thanks for coming to the podcast today. Why don't you introduce yourself to the world?
For sure. My name's Oliver. I'm from the UK, but I've lived in the States now for the past 10 years. Been doing content creation for about the last 6 years. Most of that's been on YouTube, and then the last 2 years migrating over to TikTok and Instagram, especially with the push out of Reels. So that's where we are right now, still working full time. So trying to make the moves to be able to take this content creation full time. Isn't that the goal?
That's awesome. You recently just had a kiddo too, right?
Yeah, did.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. Yeah, he was a month old yesterday. So that's been, I've always had dark circles, but they're a little bit more pronounced now than they've ever been before. Trying to get some sleep.
Awesome. What do you do for full time? What's your full time job?
I'm an IT project manager for a bank up here in KC, so it's nothing too glamorous and it doesn't fit with the content creation world that I'm in, which is like photography, videography, tech, and then productivity. But yeah, so I was actually on a call this morning for work, but the baby was up screaming. My wife needed some sleep, so I've got the baby in my arm here. Webcam's off, of course. Trying to have a conversation with these people, trying to make sure I time the mute button properly.
That is awesome. So your stuff is amazing. Your content
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. And your edits, and you recently got into drone flying. Explain that a little bit.
I've always been a big fan of like your typical type of drone that is the typical run-of-the-mill type drone. But I'm going to grab this for you quickly. So this is it's a very different type of drone. This is what's called an FPV drone. And it's the kind of one where you wear goggles and it looks like you're on the back of a bird, flying, flipping around. Now, what I'm saying there is that the drone can do that. I can't do that. So there's a bit of practice to go in there. But actually recently, I've been trying to change my YouTube channel from more like reviews and looking at new products to the storytelling. I think that's the direction of YouTube and where success is. So I've been trying to think about ideas of things that I can do with my time that I find interesting, that I can create a story out of. And one of those is learning to fly a drone inside. So I bought a midget one of these, a really small one of these that's actually only about 4 inches across. And I started flying that in the house. Those videos were going crazy on TikTok. So people seem to love that.
Yeah, I was like, this is really cool. I don't think I could have done that. I'll be hitting every single wall in my house. I can tell you that. And
Yeah,
the
of
dog
the videos
would
that
get
I didn't
after it.
post. Yeah. Yeah, is there any cool stuff that you're into?
Let's see here. So I had a Phantom 4 for the longest time. Okay, I've
Okay.
had three of them. All right,
Yeah.
and the two
the way it
first
works.
didn't make it through. The third one,
Yeah.
it has the sensors in the front and the back, so it's hard
Yeah.
to crash that one. But the ones that I had before that, no, it was easy. It was easy
sure.
to crash. So there was one time I crashed it into my parents' house. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
Literally the battery came off of the drone.
So a pretty hefty hit then.
Yeah, I was coming in hot. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. And then the second crash, out of nowhere, it was windy. All right, it was my fault, but there was this huge tree, and I didn't think I
Shouldn't
would.
have been
It should have been there, right?
Yeah.
Smack into it. The drone's probably up there for a day or two, and I grabbed
Yeah.
it down. Finally got it down, and man, that thing was also done for. But the
Yeah,
four,
yeah.
yeah, I'm not crashing that thing, and I
Nah,
fly
I can't.
pretty
Too much
good.
money. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But those kind of drones, they do, even though they're still pretty easy to crash, they do a lot of the thinking for you. And it's really, like, there's so many sensors and things that they're somewhat easy to
Yeah.
fly. But these kind of drones, they can go complete manual. So unless you're playing with the triggers and the controller properly, it will just drop straight out the sky.
When I
More at
get one
stake.
of those, I'll reach out to you. Like, dude, help me out here.
Dude, I'll tell you what right now, don't even bother. Like, they're such a time sap. Like, when you
Yeah.
can fly them, they're amazing, but the amount of time you spend repairing it and trying to set it up, it's just not worth it.
Man. Well, let's get into TikTok. You're killing it
Do it.
there. Talk about when you got into TikTok.
TikTok, when I started about 2 years ago, almost to the month. I remember I didn't have the app on my phone. I'd seen like small rumors of people just growing like crazy on TikTok. I came down to do a bit of work, went back up to say hi to the wife when she woke up, and I said, I think I'll start doing TikToks. And she looked at me and she just, because at that time, TikTok was the dancing app and the lip syncing app, and it was, unless you're about somewhere between 12 and 15, it's probably not the place for you. So I thought, I'll start throwing some videos up there. And I started with some like skits and sketches, all inside of the camera and photo video niche. Like it was very strict. I started pumping out TikToks, and the number of views, like I remember one of the first few videos hitting like 20k views in a few hours. And I couldn't believe it because I'd never seen anything like that before. With YouTube, it was always such a slog. But hitting that kind of views, I was just like amazed by it. And then before I knew it, we're at 20k followers, and then just kept going up and up and up. And then slightly changing content, really just trying to hit on like viral pieces of content, which blew up the number of followers. But then it brings its own problem, is like that viral type of content doesn't generate its own community because no one knows who you are, and they're all just going viral on some social platform. But you're not hitting your niche, you're hitting anyone and everyone. So those people who watch may not be interested in the rest of your stuff, but they may want that piece of content again and again and again and again. And so as soon as you veer away from that piece of content, they're gone. So it creates its own problem in itself.
How did you capture that community then?
I wouldn't say that I have been able to capture that much of a community. Like when I look at my video views, I could have a video that hits 800k or a couple of million, and then I could post a video that's in the same niche, but a very different style of video, and that may only reach 1, 2, 3,000. Which in the grand scheme of things is not many views. But when you think about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, it's still kind of crazy to think about. Right now I'm working on this process of showing a bit more of who I am and talking and making videos that aren't designed to go viral, but are meant to interact with maybe 1 or 2 people who've had a question in the comments, and kind of show that I'm there to create content for the people who are interested in what I'm interested in, as opposed to just growing and eventually charging, it sounds ridiculous to say, big stacks of money for a post that could go viral.
One of the things you said is like, it's important to stay in your niche. Talk about that.
I think about it in terms of a like Nike or Adidas. If you go into a Nike store and they sell just sports equipment, or the next time you think about, I need some sports clothing, Nike comes to mind because that's all they do. But if Nike started to dish out groceries and, books, you might think that that's less of a pure experience. You're going to waste a bit of time when you go to Nike to look for those kind of things. And it's the same with people coming to your social media account. If you don't give them an idea of what to expect, there's no reason for them to follow along because they don't know what to expect. Our attention spans are so short that unless you get what you want within those first 3 seconds, you're gone. So if I've got a follower that's following me for photo, video, tech or productivity stuff, and they see a video about me, learning the violin, they're probably not interested, and they're probably going to skip through that video and on to the next one.
You said something really cool there. The hook, the 3 seconds, capturing that moment. That's so crucial. People don't understand, okay, how can I have this person stay and watch the whole video? I got 3 seconds to do that. Mm-hmm. How did you get that? Do you feel like you got that down? I was like, okay, every time I do a hook, it's going to be something like this. Do you feel like you got it down?
Right. When I'm talking about a product, when I'm doing like a product review on my TikTok, I could nail that because you have that hook at the beginning, and if I talk from experience, I can do it in certain aspects, but it's very difficult to get across the whole page. So if I have in mind that I'm going to make a viral style of video, I can normally get that hook. But if I'm making a video that's more for the community, which is very niche, very, very niche, it's a little more difficult because even though you may nail the hook, you'll still find people that realize how niche the video is and not be interested and move on very quickly. So I think to go viral, the hook is everything, and you have to fulfill on that hook, and it has to be a very open style of video. So if I give this as an example, let's say I'm making a video about a camera. It could be a very specific camera to a very specific audience, like let's say an audience who loves product photography. If I make the video directed to product photographers, that video is not going viral because anyone who's not interested just doesn't care. If you make that video more general about a product that everyone sees in the news, like let's say Logan Paul and KSI's new drink, Prime. If you have that in the video, people, especially in the States, know about that. They're more likely to stick around because that's what they're interested in too. But they may also pick up more information about the camera. So it's a crazy game to try and play. I'll tell you one video that went, I think it got like 6 or 8 million views on Instagram Reels actually. And it was just a tutorial on a trend that was going on. Just kind of a breakdown of what you need to do to make this type of video. But when I look back at the video, I realized it wasn't the tutorial and that being concise or whatever people liked about it that made the video go viral. It was that at the beginning of the video, I was holding a cup that was from a place called Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And people have been there before. They may have a favorite drink. And so if I go through the comments, so many of the comments are, I've been there before, or I love that place. My go-to smoothie is X. And it's weird things like that that make things pop off. Gives it that kind of relatability.
I gotcha. It's something that you have to keep practicing, right? Or you continue to keep figuring it out. But it's not like, oh, okay, this is the recipe to do it every single time, for every single video. It doesn't work like that. Is that what you're saying?
So I'll say yes and no. I think yes, like you see certain creators doing the same video over and over again, they just change one specific aspect about it and they go viral each time because they realize that once one video has gone viral, they tweak something about it but hit them like 90% of the video and they'll continue to go viral. There's one guy, I think his name is like To Touch an Emu or something, and he does drone videos where the drone spins around him and he just dances, and like you watch like 10, 20 of his videos and it's the same process. He's watching another video. It zooms in on the number of likes. He has a crazy face. He unpacks his drone and then bang, you're into him dancing as the drone spins around him. So I think there's definitely a recipe for virality once you find a recipe that goes viral. But if I'm going to be honest, it's bloody boring as a creator doing the same thing again and again and again. And that kind of thing, I don't think builds a community of people that are willing to hang on your every word and like really buy into what you're doing. So from your perspective, where you're looking for creators to essentially create content for brands, is that right?
Yep.
What are you looking for in a creator? Are you looking for someone that can hit big views each time but may not have that massive an impact? Or are you looking for someone that has 10,000 followers but gets 5,000 of the same people back every video? What's more valuable to you?
I would say both.
Big question, yeah.
But it's the quantity of people you want, right? Let's say brands say, okay, we want 20 creators. Which one do you think it's easier to get? It's like, your goal is not to go easier. You try to get both of as much as you can. Our focus has always been, it's like, okay, does this creator use this product day-to-day basis, or does this creator, do we think the consistency is important to us, right? Do they understand the platform? You could say, I'm a creator today, but it's like, do they really understand the platform, right? Because the last thing we want is to do 20 different revisions. Like, okay, you have to go back into this. And TikTok, you can't I think the editing part of TikTok is not the best, If you want to get to a specific shot, it's not the best.
Yeah.
So I think that's a thing that we're still figuring out as we go too. I think someone that understands and can get around the app, I think it's a huge value too. But consistency more importantly than anything. Oh, and also, I'd rather have one person that understands what I'm doing than 100,000 people that don't understand what I'm doing, right? What's the reward, honestly? It's like, if I can connect with that person, do we share the same values? We understand this world. Like, the reason why I'm a fan is like I've been in that world of flying drones. So the reason why I'm a fan is because I love the edits. I can see the transitions. That's why I'm a fan. I can relate to that. Cool. And as a person, you kill it too. It's like, okay, this guy's cool. I love what he's doing. I understand. I think that's the most important. It's like if you can relate and if you can also. There's a value that you give. It's like, oh, dude, we can try this next time, or I can do this edit next time.
I think you gave some good stuff in there. So let's say I sell my own product. If I'm going to reach out to some creators to use my product for me, and I can try and do some brand work, do I want to look for a creator? Do I think which creator has more value? The one who consistently makes viral videos to random people that aren't in my niche, or the creator who makes very specific videos and has a very engaged community, even if they hit 5,000 to 10,000 views a video? But the marketing from a brand is they can have very different goals. If their goal is to sell a product, then they would like to niche down pretty hard. But if their goal is just exposure, then they could go with one of those bigger creators that goes viral every time because it's not about necessarily ROI.
Correct.
Okay, interesting stuff.
Yeah. So tell me about that. As a creator, it's like people can really do this from 9 to 5 if they really wanted to. They can make this their life, right? Just working with in a way that you can monetize your work even more, right? So
Yeah.
talk about that from your perspective.
I'd say once you've got the contract signed and you're beginning the work, I think that's all fine and dandy, as long as you set up the relationship well. But from, let's say, idea of wanting to work with a brand, so that you have the two perspectives. You have the creator aspect of, I want to work with the brand X, so I'll message them and try and get hold of someone. That's bloody difficult. You don't know if they're using their Instagram. Like, how do you contact them? Instagram DMs? Do you find someone specific from LinkedIn that works for that company in a marketing position? Do you try and reach out to another creator who's already worked with that company? Or do you try and find an agency that they're working with? So trying to find a contact for a brand is bloody challenging as it is. So I guess we can talk about it from that aspect first. So I guess I shared a couple of methods I use to contact brands. I either DM them on Instagram and ask for a good email to contact. I'll see if they have an email in their bio and I'll message that. Or one thing I like to do, but I haven't found it incredibly successful, is find someone on LinkedIn who works at the company in a marketing position and try and connect with that person directly to see if, you can just skip round talking to customer service and anywhere, anything to try and get to that person. But then negotiations, of course, what kind of value can you really offer as a creator? And obviously brands and agencies want to pay the cheapest amount to get that creator, because then your profit margin is bigger if you can pay the creator less. So trying to negotiate the right sum based on the value you can create is super difficult. I feel like there's a massive flaw in the way that most creators, including myself previously, try and charge brands to make videos on social media. The volatility of social media, you have no guarantee of how many views you can get. So like I said, I've got around 320,000 followers on TikTok, but some videos may only get 2,000 views. And I don't think it's fair to charge a brand your typical rate and a video only get 2,000 views. I just don't think that works. So the way I work with brands is I work out a number of tiered brackets of number of views, and I have them pay for one of those tiers, which means that, let's say they're paying for 100 to 200k views. That would be a single charge rate, but it means that I can make unlimited number of videos to reach that view count. So it's like a guarantee that they will reach a certain level of exposure for the investment that they have.
Because you might get it in one video, you might get it in 5 videos.
Exactly. I mean, the end goal is to generate value on both sides. I mean, the value for me would be my followers appreciate that content, I get paid for it, and then obviously the brand reaps the rewards in terms of, the exposure or more products purchased. Brands are a little skeptical with that. I don't know if it's this idea that they're not sure that they can get a guaranteed number of views, or if most brands just have their process set up that they will pay a flat rate, and that's that.
How about incentives? Let's just say, you make one video. If it hit 100,000 views, it's going to cost this much. If it doesn't, so you don't have to make more than one content, right? Have you played with that world a little bit, hit incentives?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's a good question. I think it could be very valuable. So my model incorporates that. So let's say the brand pays for a minimum of, let's say, between 100 and 200k views. If it goes over, they will pay to the next tier. But if the video goes under 100k views, I will continue making content until it goes into what they've paid for. So yes, my model does incorporate that, but going on the basis of, if you were to do a flat rate fee, then having that kind of like bonus almost per 10k views or per 50k views. Yeah, it's about almost like protecting yourself, because the potential virality is always there. When it comes to working with creators and brands, do you have the brands come to you and say, we need a creator, and then you find a creator and ask them their rate? Or do you have a brand say, this is our budget, and you just find creators fit that rate? How does it work on your end of things?
And honestly, I think we've done both. But the most popular ones, basically, a brand reaches out and say, all right, we need creators, and here's our budget. It could be $75 per video, right? But one thing that we like to push more than anything is incentives are important too. It's like, because we're for the creators, we're also for the brands though too. We are learning, especially from a creator's world, their data. There's so much information out that we don't know, right? And our goal is to make sure to study that and to understand that more than anything. We love the model of, here's what it's going to cost per video, but it's not just one video. It's, we're looking at 10 to 30 videos. And then plus the incentives. That's what we like. Thinking from a a marketplace perspective too, right? Let's just say there was something out there that's a marketplace. There was creators and there was brands, right? And they got to
Yeah.
work together. What's the most possible way to set that up from your perspective, do you think? Do you think it's also setting, hey, here's what's per video, but here's our incentives that if you hit these measurables, that you will get paid out? Do you like that, or what would you think about that?
I like that model, but I think it's very hard for brands to accept that.
What would you think a win-win situation would be? Do you think there will ever be a win-win situation?
Yeah, and honestly, I think it, based on the model that I use, I think setting a lower and upper bound of views that to be paid for, I think is the fairest way to do it. So, if you set the lower bound, the brand knows exactly what they're going to get for their investment. If you set the upper bound, the brand knows exactly how much they're potentially going to have to pay out for that investment. And no creator knows that they're going to go unexpectedly viral. And so if they're okay with that upper bound, no matter how viral the video goes, when you've got it signed in a contract, I think you have to accept it, knowing that a brand can't just have an unlimited budget for when a video does go viral. It's tough, isn't it? You think being a content creator is like true freedom and you get to post whatever you want and do whatever you want online, but you'll still have to change the content you're creating to what people want to see and the way people like to see it.
TikTok can get ruthless sometimes, but I think the cool thing about that platform, it's that you don't have to be super big to be impactful. You could just start. You got into TikTok like, holy crap, that's a lot of people seeing this one piece of content. I think that's what's cool about that. That's what TikTok has. Right now, it's an opportunity for brands or creators to actually just volume and consistency and just actually doing the research behind the platform and understanding what they're doing.
Some of the maddening things I see on TikTok still, which are, like, I know Mountain Dew have been pushing a load of ads for one of their energy drinks, but it's all like, it's a creative, but it's a very professional looking ad that you'd see on TV or Instagram or Facebook, and it does not roll on TikTok. Like, people, it stands out. So when you stick an ad on there where everything is perfect, people immediately notice it and scroll.
Do you think that's going to change though? I mean, do you think it's going to work one day?
Those professional type of ads always worked well on Facebook and Instagram. But on TikTok, I don't think it's going to go back that direction yet, for the next few years at least. But as people on TikTok start upping their production value, I mean, you remember YouTube? YouTube used to be just people in their bedroom just making some random video. But now, like, let's say, I mean, Mr. Beast is a horrible one to pick out because he's like one of the biggest YouTubers, but the team behind him that goes into setting up every shot, every line of the video, the editing, the planning, the thumbnail, the title, the timing, the marketing, finding trends. It's a complete business in its own. Do I think TikTok will go there? I think eventually, yes. And they're seeing that recently, pushing the 10-minute videos on TikTok.
Have you tried joining that space?
I have not. I think they're trying to monetize the platform, and it's so difficult to monetize on 7 to 15 second videos. Like, you can't have an ad in the middle of a 7 to 15 second video. Someone's going to scroll. So I think by having a 10-minute video, you get into that YouTube world where you can have ads every 2-3 minutes and start to generate revenue there.
They're pretty smart about what they're doing. They recently launched the stories too.
Yeah. I don't have that feature yet, but I did see that. I think that's a move where people will stop posting 10 times about their day in each video. I think they will use the stories to generate their community and their actual posts to create viral content, so that you're dragging people in from the viral content, and then people can watch more about your life and learn about you through your story. I think that's the way.
So, you've been on the platform for 2 years. With all the time that you've been putting in and the stuff that you've been learning, and then, I mean, the information that you've been getting from the platform, what are some of the key pieces that you've learned?
I actually generated my whole brand around my TikTok process, which is create a shorter feedback loop. So being in IT, it's all about, you have the idea, you work on it, get it out to the customer, get feedback on it, and then start from where the last piece of content you pushed out. So you're consistently learning from the customer, so in this case, the audience, and bringing that back into your flow. So the shorter you can make that feedback loop, the faster you learn. Ultimately, the faster you fail, because it takes less time to make content that may flop, but you realize what doesn't work. So you can bring it into that feedback loop, start again, and start implementing new ideas that you think are going to do better and better over time. My opinion would be, you don't know exactly what you're going to post. You don't know exactly what people are going to enjoy. You don't know what you're going to enjoy making and posting. So try anything and everything when you start, but analyze what you're doing, analyze what people like and dislike about it, and then integrate that into the next video that you create. I do everything on an external camera and edit it on my laptop and then post from there. Anywhere from 2 minutes to 30 minutes, and you can post 2-3 of those a day, and you learn new things 2 to 3 times a day, which is amazing. Where else do you have that opportunity?
I love the perspective. I love that. And I've mentioned a couple times consistency, right? How many times you should post a day. You know, there's this thing that you should post 10 times a day. There's this thing that you should post 3 times a day. It's like, I mean, what's the strategy behind that?
I think once you find the content that you enjoy making that people like, you should dedicate some of your time to the hook and watch time. So how can you keep someone interested and also deliver on the expectation of that video? If you can't deliver, people aren't going to stay for your video again. So hook, get them captured, keep them interested, and then at the end, deliver on whatever it was you talked about at the very beginning. And that way you get people to either hit the follow button. You know, it normally takes someone between 3 and 8 times of seeing a product or a person before they actually follow. So if you can get 3 to 8 good videos out there, you're likely to gain a follower for every time that happens.
So what's next for you?
My goal right now is to dedicate more time to building that community across TikTok and Instagram. Improve my story writing skills for that longer form content, because I think that's where the money is for now. And to continue to learn from what the people are looking for, what the people want, and to never stay stale. Eventually, I get to a point where I can quit my full-time job and, you know, live as a creator, continue creating products, both physical and digital, that people find useful, and then generate enough revenue to not have to work 9 to 5 every day and have a bit more freedom while doing something that you really enjoy. So isn't that everyone's goal, I guess, isn't it? It's a bit cliche.
Hey, as long as you make it yours and you're striving to do it every single day, then it's your goal, you know? So,
right.
You know, let's just say a creator came to you and say, all right, man, I'm trying to do what you're doing on TikTok. Just tell me something. What do I do next?
I'd say number 1, look at that lens and talk to it as if you're just talking to one single person. Because you only ever are talking to one person at a time on when you post anything to any platform. Now, you see a video with 100k views, you're not talking to 100,000 people, you're talking to one person at a time. And then the second thing is, not everything you film has to be posted. You could take one day, film anything and everything throughout that day. You could make 20, 30 videos out of that, or you could make one video out of that. But just like take the time to experiment, and you don't have to post everything. Here we go. Couple of clicks.
There we go. There we go.
Right there.
Well, thank you so much today for being on the podcast today. I appreciate it. I hope our viewers do too. Thanks for taking the time. I've learned a lot, and keep killing it. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm a fan. You already heard me say that 10 times. Thank you.
Sure, I appreciate that. If my guys see this too, I hope they enjoy some of it, and there's some useful stuff in there too. And obviously, if you have questions, feel free to DM me. Not just you, Lucas, just, you know, anyone watching.
Where can they DM you? Say your username.
Oh yeah, Odd Wright, ODD Wright with a W. So Odd WRIGHT, Instagram and TikTok. Finger guns.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks again today.
Lucas, top man, appreciate it, and you have a good rest of the day.
Sweet.
Top man, speak soon. Bye.
Yep.